The bundle that turned into heaven on earth. One day, a magical bundle of seeds came to earth. It came to earth to see itself grow into a beautiful field of joy, creational power, beauty, love, grace. It contained unlimited potential to do so in whatever way. It traveled through a vortex that led it into a human being's womb. It was born as a human baby, and at the moment it was born, it needed to first get used to the shape it took on. The bundle shined brightly through every part of its newly attained body. But from the start, the light it shined bumped into many things the bundle had not experienced before. The brightly shining light seemed to be misaligned to this new world. So the bundle decided to keep this light a bit closer in order to experience less disturbance to the energies flowing around on Earth. As time passed by, the bundle learned to be perfectly attuned, and the light was now just its own little secret. Sometimes it would still feel the light, mostly when it was alone. In those moments, deep inside, the bundle felt, one day the light could be free. It just needed to learn the things humans were telling it to learn. As time passed by, the bundle learned it was not a bundle of seeds really. It was also a human, and it had a name. It was called Frank. It also had a gender, it was a boy. And because of that, it looked a certain way, and its role on Earth was defined somewhat different than that of the girls. The bundle, now identifying as Frank and as a boy, slowly started to forget it once felt like a bundle of seeds, shining brightly and bringing infinite possibilities to create and to experience the wonders of Earth. As time passed by, Frank had built a strong idea around who he was. When he looked in a mirror, he saw his image, his body, and, as all humans, he would see himself. By now, he felt he gained much more clarity on who he was. He was a young man with an attractive body. He was a son to his parents. He was a soccer player. He was a friend and about to start his next phase in life as an intern at a big food production company. He also had a good sense of humor, got along well with most people, and was still also at times enjoying spending time on his own. As time passed by, Frank had many experiences. His first breakup, his second, stress, making money, losing money, love, joy, losing loved ones, getting sick, and even depression. Whenever he felt depressed, he turned back to being with himself. And then everything would feel so dark. He did not think it was because the bundle of seeds was nudging him to become aware of who he was. No. So he kept looking for ways to get out of the depression, and he would tell himself, "This time I will do better and make sure it does not return." As time passed by, he joined some conferences held by mindset mentors, and he felt they were right. I just have to say yes to myself, change my thoughts, do better. His depressions reduced, but his experiences were still challenging at times. But Frank got more grown up around this. His last breakup he handled with grace, and he started to get slightly less ambitious in his career, reducing the stress somewhat. As time passed by, Frank turned 40 and was pretty sure he knew everything about life. He felt more in control of his emotions, his relationships, his finances. Life was comfortable and just fine. But sometimes, unexpectedly, he felt something inside, something stirring. He would feel the secret he once had as a child. But he did not realize that this was what he was feeling. So he would quickly smile it away or think he was daydreaming. Therefore, it felt as if it was just a falling star passing by and disappearing as fast as it came. As time passed by, Frank, without realizing what was going on, started to take those falling stars a bit more seriously. as deep down he knew the secret he once kept was real. Deep down he knew there was something about that. Deep down he knew this secret was in some way more real than anything else he experienced. As time passed by, the bundle of seeds started to shoot out more and more falling stars. Now that it was clear Frank was seeing them and waving them off less frequently. Frank started to slowly become aware of the bundle he was. Now, whenever Frank would do something, feel something or try to avoid the shooting stars, it would start to hurt him more and more. And it was at this time Frank decided to follow the stars and uncover his childhood secret. This was not an easy path, as it was so very different from all he had learned. And it was a lonely road at times too, because his friends and family did not feel their bundle. Frank had to face many things and question everything he thought he was. At times it did not feel like it was a good thing he was doing, as parts of his life started to crumble down. It was extremely painful to let go of all he had gathered throughout life, and sometimes he felt he could not go on. But then, at other times, he experienced glimpses of the bundle he was, and how it had felt when it once was free. And it was this that kept him going despite of everything else. Deep down he knew it was worth it. As time passed by, Frank had deeply transformed, faced many challenges, and he started to be a shining bundle to others. But then, something happened that changed everything. The bundle of light started to radiate so brightly that Frank could barely handle it. Frank started to collapse and he felt he was having his worst depression ever. It was so confusing because how can following those falling stars lead to such a breakdown? Frank felt all the light had completely vanished. He thought he had gone crazy, chasing falling stars. What was he thinking? How stupid he had been, thinking that childhood secret was actually some kind of truth. How did he let himself believe in magic? How can I face the world any longer if this was all not true? As time passed by, Frank was swinging from feeling it was impossible to go on living, to getting comfort from the falling stars, to thinking he was crazy, to merging with the falling stars and feeling its light so bright, back to losing the will to live. And one night, when it was really dark, Frank decided to write a suicide letter. He could no longer live amongst the world where there was no place for the shining bundle he still deep down felt he was. And he could no longer live with the bundle constantly seeming to disappear, leaving him feeling he was crazy for ever believing it was real. Tears were pouring down his face and it felt good. It felt so good to finally give up. It actually felt so good to give up that he felt now is not the time to take a violent act on my body. Right now he just wanted to sleep, and so he did. The next morning he woke up as a bundle of seeds. It felt great. The whole world looked different and felt different. It was as if his eyes were seeing so much more clearly, his ears were hearing so much more, and even his nose seemed to be smelling more. There was no doubt this was real, no fear of going crazy. And Frank looked in the mirror and he smiled. He could see his body just as he did when he looked in the mirror as a young man that day. But he knew it was not Frank. In a way it still was, but it was a whole lot more. Because the secret he once kept was now right there, in his image. As time passed by, Frank started to get used to letting go of all that was still remaining, which moved him away from the bundle he was. Some parts were still a bit painful to let go of, but Frank allowed himself to mourn about it. The mourning did not feel dark though, because the bundle transmuted it with grace and so much love. And Frank once again as he did before entering the womb that day, now embodied the bundle fully. Frank was still his name, but Frank was a part of the bundle, not the master of it. And the bundle started using its seeds that were available in unlimited amounts, variations, shapes and colors, to just create and experience the bundle's potential. As time passed by, the bundle and Frank made some changes in the forms Frank took on in his life so far. Now that Frank and the bundle did not need to protect, defend or hide anything, they were able to find a way to make a living that helped the bundle to be able to fully flourish. The bundle and Frank were always bathing in unconditional love, harmony, wisdom and strength. Every day they enjoyed their sharp vision and other senses which enabled them to experience the world in all its fullness and diversity. If there was anything that felt good for them to do, they would just do that and it would always work out for them. When they were around other bundles, whether those bundles were aware of being a bundle or not, Frank and the bundle would just be all that is unconditional and feel the joy of witnessing creation in another. Now, the bundle and Frank together look back at these past years and realize the bundle, while taking the shape of Frank, once thought it was the attunement he needed to learn. But now he realizes that was not it. He came to use those seeds and be a creator. Instead of taking all in, he was here to fully join in. Not through better attunement, but simply by opening up the bundle and see what it can create. To witness this, to celebrate this, and to be completely filled with joy at the sight of this. The bundle and Frank enjoyed how everything they would need would just be there, and they felt grateful for all the things they were able to do and create. Frank realized, this is what heaven on earth is like. I have died while remaining alive, and now live as being in heaven, while still walking the earth. The unlimited potential I felt must have been there, that light, the childhood secret I had with myself, is here and it is very real. That is why I never truly diminished my secret, because it is more real than anything else I used to take as reality. You have been listening to a production from The Red Tree. For more of our work, visit theredtree.com with 3 as a number.